So one is for the probation automation that David Berry has. Every once in a while there is and he highlights it.
Yeah.
He comes in, gives us the cash, we write him a receipt.
Okay, we're the Edgar County Watchdogs. I'm John Kraft, and
I'm Kirk Allen.
And we're here to talk about DeWitt County. Some people say DeWitt, but DeWitt County and credit cards. Somebody sent us a message to tell us we were generally reckless and used self-important methods in reporting the credit card incident. But you know, we reported what was said at the meeting.
You got that right.
By the treasurer of DeWitt County.
What was it she said about that credit card?
Well, let's see. I got it right here. The board member kept asking if it was a public or private credit card, and then he asked if it was legal to purchase personal items using a public credit card, and nobody would answer. They kept saying probation automation, like that was the answer.
Yeah, they never did answer that guy's questions.
They think maybe people scared to ask questions about probation. You know, just because a judge has to sign off on the expense sheet doesn't mean you're not allowed to ask questions. Chris, I believe is her name, said that Capital One is for probation automation. That's why the credit card bill was that high. And then he asked, the county board member asked again, and she said that's through probation automation. It's through probation automation. Like it's supposed to scare people off. So anyway, towards the end of the meeting, he asked, actually they got the actual bill, which is public record since he submitted it for payment. And the billing address is Dave Berry, DeWitt County Probation.
So it's a county credit card.
It's sent to the county, it's in his name, which is common procedure. So I'm still going to run under the assumption that it's a county credit card, not a personal credit card. But anyway, the board member asked, so this is actually a county credit card? And she answers, it's county probation automation. Then he asked, so the county is responsible for paying it, it's not a personal? She said, right. Then he said, it is our county credit card. Then the answer was, it's a probation automation card. So that's 3 acknowledgments, basically, by the treasurer, who's responsible for paying the bills, and I don't think she would pay private bills using public funds, and she responded 3 times that that was a public credit card.
But I think she did pay private bills.
Well, no, because he reimbursed.
But she paid it before he reimbursed it.
Oh, did she pay before that?
Well, it was a bill that was paid.
And you can't reimburse something that's already yours, Dave.
Yeah, if the credit card was a private credit card, why would he have to reimburse the county for anything?
Exactly.
That's interesting. Now, didn't Dave send a letter claiming that card was his?
Yes, he did, but the wording wasn't too convincing.
Let's go with the assumption that it's Dave's card. If it's Dave's card, why would the county be paying the bill? Wouldn't he just submit receipts for his expenses?
Yeah, that's common procedure. Submit receipts for what he charged on his personal card to the county. They would approve them and cut him a check for the amount of the receipt.
I think that's in their policy manual too. As far as reimbursements, they were to present receipts for reimbursement. It was interesting listening to some of the board members. I wish I had all the names of the people. We weren't there, so we had to listen to an audio tape that we found online for it. They were upset about how we got a hold of that credit card statement.
Came from the assistant state's attorney.
From a FOIA request. Did you notice that nobody said anything like that in the meeting?
Well, they knew it. The treasurer knew it because she gave it to the assistant state's attorney. The assistant state's attorney knew it because he gave it to me. But, you know, silence because they're trying to pin it on somebody. It didn't work.
Well, and their own personnel policy manual talks about what they're supposed to be doing as far as payments, and they attacked one of those board members for questioning private versus public, and the state's attorney still hasn't answered the question. In fact, I sent an email to him. I asked 4 questions. Do you agree or disagree with the Illinois Supreme Court, and this was in reference to a ruling on private or public funds being used for private purpose. Do you agree or disagree with our state constitution? That's the one that outlines it's improper. If presented with factual evidence proving funds from a specific source were being spent in direct violation of the statute covering those funds, and it also violated our state constitution, how would you deal with such evidence? And the last question, if those expenditures paid for with public funds were for personal expenses, would you prosecute accordingly? I haven't gotten any response back from him. You think I will?
No, he's not going to answer because he knows.
Let's answer it for him.
He knows the answer and he doesn't want to acknowledge it.
Their own policy manual says public funds, any use of them for personal or private matters is misuse of funds. That's in their policy manual.
Well, who reads them things anyway?
I guess we're the only ones that read them.
Yeah, I don't ever read them things.
The answer is right there in their own book, and they haven't read it.
Oh. And what video was this lady talking about?
I think she was talking about the first one we put up.
About the credit card?
Yeah, what'd she say?
It's terrible.
Terrible. No, ma'am. I had to type this out to make sure I get this clear. No, ma'am. Terrible is the fact you can't see the fact you're using public funds to pay a debt of your probation officer. The fact he paid it back doesn't change the fact you've used public funds for private purchase. Why would they do that? Well, that's just the way they've always done it.
Yeah. Wait a minute. The treasurer says that at the meeting prior. Yeah.
What'd she say?
She said, I'm quoting here, what he does is every once in a while he comes in and gives us the cash and we write him a receipt. He staples it to that credit card and we return that to his probation automation.
So the card stays there in the office?
No.
What's she stapling to it?
To the statement, apparently.
Why would she have the statement? I thought it was his private card.
Exactly.
Did you see that? What was it that one guy said about the judge? The judge reviewed it, so by gosh, we've got no right to question it.
Yeah, they're never wrong.
Yeah. So the judge approved public funds to pay his personal expenditures? I mean, personal expenditures were on the card, so if it was...
I don't think he did that.
Well, makes you wonder if the judge really reviewed it. Do you think he did? We ought to do a FOIA for that one. One of the board members made the comment, it's a personal credit card. It's none of our business.
It is our business when public funds are used, period.
And it violates their own policy manual. So I think it does become everybody's business. They seem to be more worried about how it got out there, though. That was funny, how they went back and forth on how we got the statement.
Yeah, let me rephrase that. The assistant state's attorney sent it to me. Oh, the sheriff claims he's accountable to his cards. Well, he is. He's accountable to his cards. But that doesn't mean he doesn't have to produce receipts for purchases on those cards. There was something else in there. What was that?
Yeah,
I got late fees or something.
Well, that's another issue on the sheriff's cards. We'll get to that here in a second. I enjoyed that county board member, and again, I apologize for not having all the names of these people. We just had the audio. But one of the board members, I would call it, was a pretty aggressive lecturing on why he didn't go and talk to Dave about the credit card. And he asked him, did you go talk to Dave? Did you go talk to Dave? And Dave hadn't talked to him. I think his question was to the state's attorney. But this same guy is upset with how this information got leaked. So my question to him, did you go ask anybody how the information got out? The answer would be no, because you would have not asked the question. It got out because of a FOIA. But he expects everybody else to go answer questions or ask questions.
He knew that, he just acted like he didn't know it.
Yeah, hypocrisy knows no bounds. Sheriff spoke up a little bit. He talked about his credit card and how it's got the sheriff's name, DeWitt County. He's responsible for all of it.
And that just proves our point. His cards are public cards, just like a probation automation.
If it's got the county's name on it, it's public business. But Sheriff talked about accountability to his cards. I'm curious, why are we paying late fees on the sheriff's credit card? Because there's quite a few late fees on those cards as well.
Nobody's supposed to notice.
Oh, yeah, we'll cover that more in another story. So hold on to your keyboards. That'll be a good one, I promise.
FOIA is hijacking an office. Really? We'll call the sheriff, tell him to arrest the FOIA.
You know, if these people would keep good records, a FOIA is not a big deal. You go to where the records are, you make a copy of it, you enter it into the system. The problem is they don't want the information out.
Well, that's one of the things. Hey, it's on the hour right now. Time to wrap it up. The state's attorney says he's not aware, well, he doesn't say, but he's not aware of county credit cards making personal purchases. How is it that the treasurer can presents the bills that include personal charges? Well, the state's attorney, assistant state's attorney won't even state whether it's illegal to purchase personal items, even if it was a government.
Well, I don't know that there's criminal intent. I think that's what he said. Was there anything in the statute about criminal intent?
Not in that one.
Now, the Constitution specifically says you can't use public money for personal use. It's for public purposes. And his personal purchases are not public. Therefore, it violates the Constitution. But that's probably why I haven't got an answer to my questions. He knows the answer.
He knows.
You bet.
Well, that's it for today.
Sounds good. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Okay, so this is actually a county credit card. It is
County probation automation.
So the county's responsible for paying it. It's not a personal credit card.
Right, they come to him and
Right.
sell.